Hi everyone, it's Gus from Askewed Reviews. And I was lucky enough to receive an early access screener to a short animated film that right around now is going to be making the film festival circuit. The Askewed viewer who gave me the early access screener is the director and writer of this short. The animated short film that I'm referring to is called Operation Total Trouble, directed and written by Chad Meisenheimer. Now, in this short that's around 4 minutes long, we follow a story that involves two Frenchies, Kenny and Zoe. There are also two other characters in this short, an old lady who is the owner of the Frenchies, and a squirrel that is basically a heckler towards them. In the brief story that's shown here, we have the two characters of Kenny and Zoe getting up to some mischief as their owner has left them alone for the day, and the squirrel is just kind of messing with them. Now, if you do decide to give this short an opportunity, just do keep in mind there's not a ton to the story here, but that doesn't surprise me too much. This is Chad's first foray into animation, so this seems to be more of a proof of concept. Now, as I mentioned, this is Chad's first step into animation. I don't actually know if that's the same thing for the animator Yennefer Diaz. The actual look of this animation is not bad, but it does remind me a lot of those old point and click adventure games that you could play on the computer. Now, to review or kind of break down this animated short, here's what I'll say about it. First of all, I don't think it's bad, but I do think it definitely has some room to improve upon. One of the first things I'll mention is the voice cast. I don't think there's really an issue with the voices. A good majority of them do seem to kind of fit the character pretty well. Some of them might need a little improvement or maybe emote a little bit better, but really no issue there. Now, kind of connected to that, I don't think there's any issue really with the animation. It could be improved upon, but probably syncing up the voices a little bit better. Obviously, most of the characters are animals, so it's not like they move the exact same way, but there was a couple of times where you could notice where one of the characters was talking and their mouth wasn't moving, or vice versa. Something else I do want to mention is the story. Like I said near the beginning, I don't feel like there's much of a story here, more just little snippets of kind of what's going on in the daily life of these dogs. With this being the first animated project by this group, I definitely feel like that's something that they'll be able to catch on to and probably make a little bit of a deeper story in the next one. If I were to try to give any kind of advice about the next animated short that they make, or even animated film, and once again, this is just my opinion, you don't have to follow it whatsoever, is that try to define or try to figure out exactly what your story is fitting into. Because this one, the look of it, and I would say a good majority of the story, felt like maybe this was going to be geared towards little kids. Then some of the sequences or some of the animation brought it a little bit closer to something like Tom and Jerry. And then there was at least one or two moments where they definitely made teen or slightly adult jokes, which I don't mind at all. I'm not offended or bothered by that, but it's more or less try to figure out where you want this to fit into. Do you want it to be for kids? Do you want it to be for teens to 20s? Do you want it to be for adults only? Because I think once you have that figured out, it'll work a little bit better. So, at least for me on my scale, I'm going to give this film a 2 out of 5. I do recommend checking it out though, and I look forward to seeing what this group does in the future. Now, if you'd like to have an opportunity of watching this yourselves, you can actually reach out to Chad here on Instagram, or you can see other projects that he's worked on by going to this website here. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Askewed Reviews. And if you happen to make short films or full length features and you want someone to watch it and do a review for you, just to give it a little bit of extra publicity, feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to be able to help you out.